Cleopatra is one of the most fascinating and enigmatic figures in ancient history, but interestingly, she was not Egyptian by lineage. Although she ruled Egypt and was revered as a living goddess, Cleopatra was actually of Macedonian Greek origin. She belonged to the Ptolemaic dynasty, which was established in Egypt after Alexander the Great's conquest. Her predecessor, Ptolemy Soter, one of Alexander's most loyal generals, was appointed ruler of Egypt after the conqueror's death, beginning a line of Greek-descended pharaohs who would rule Egypt for nearly 3 centuries. This Greek heritage did not stop Cleopatra from embracing Egyptian custom. In fact, most of the Ptolemaic rulers never learned the local language, preferring to maintain a Greek culture within the court. Cleopatra, however, was the first and only of her dynasty to speak Egyptian, a decision that showed her respect for the Egyptian people and strengthened her connection to the kingdom. This set her apart from her predecessors and helped consolidate her image as a legitimate Egyptian queen beloved by her people. Cleopatra also understood the value of being seen not only as a ruler but as a divine figure, similar to traditional Egyptian pharaohs. She adopted Egyptian symbolism and religious rituals, frequently associating herself with the goddess Isis. This identification with Isis helped Cleopatra be seen as a savior and protector of Egypt, a figure that the people could revere and respect. Her ability to adapt and adopt essential aspects of Egyptian culture was crucial to her reign and demonstrated her depth of understanding and skill in shaping her image for the benefit of her rule. One of Cleopatra's most remarkable traits was her impressive linguistic ability. Unlike many members of the Ptolemaic dynasty who maintained a cultural distance from the Egyptian people, Cleopatra spoke several languages fluently, including Greek, Egyptian, and possibly even Hebrew, Arabic, Syrian, Ethiopian, and Persian. This ability to speak the people's language not only set her apart from her predecessors, but also gave her a unique political advantage. She could communicate directly with different leaders and people without the need for translators or intermediaries, making negotiations and diplomatic alliances smoother. Cleopatra understood the power of communicating directly with her people and other leaders. Speaking the Egyptian language was a strategic decision that helped build an image of closeness and respect for local traditions. Many scholars believe this linguistic skill contributed to her diplomatic success with foreign leaders and her popularity among Egyptians, who saw her as a queen truly committed to Egypt and its traditions. In addition to her command of languages, Cleopatra possessed a sharp mind and was well-versed in philosophy, literature, mathematics, and astronomy. This superior education enabled her to engage as an equal with some of the most powerful and influential men of her time, including Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. Cleopatra used her education and intellect as tools of leadership, showing she was not merely a figure of power by birth, but a woman of great knowledge and wisdom. Her command of languages and erudition reinforced her position as a highly respected and capable queen. Cleopatra, like many members of the Ptolemaic dynasty, followed the custom of ruling alongside her brothers. This type of coregency was common among the Ptolemies, aimed at preserving the royal lineage and ensuring continuity of power. Cleopatra co-ruled with her younger brothers, Ptolemy XIII and later Ptolemy XIV, both of whom she was required to marry, in accordance with royal Egyptian traditions. These marriages were not based on love, but rather on a political necessity to keep power within the family. However, the relationship between Cleopatra and her brother Ptolemy XIII was fraught with conflict. Over time, Cleopatra's strategic vision and leadership ability began to threaten Ptolemy XII's position, as well as that of his advisors. This resulted in a rivalry that culminated in an outright struggle for the throne. In 48 BCE, tensions between Cleopatra and Ptolemy XIII reached their peak, and she was temporarily ousted and forced into exile. Determined to reclaim her throne, Cleopatra sought the support of Julius Caesar, who had just arrived in Egypt. In a bold move, she presented herself to Caesar wrapped in a carpet, surprising him and establishing the beginning of an alliance that would change the course of her life and Egypt's future. With Caesar's support, Cleopatra defeated Ptolemy XIII, regaining her throne and solidifying her position as queen. This episode demonstrates her skill in using alliances and strategies to turn unfavorable situations around, ensuring her survival and influence. In 48 BCE, Cleopatra formed a remarkable alliance with Julius Caesar, which became fundamental for consolidating her power. After the surprising encounter where she presented herself rolled up in a carpet before Caesar, Cleopatra secured more than just political support. She and Caesar developed a romantic relationship that not only secured her place on Egypt's throne, but also strengthened her position as queen. With the backing of the Roman legions, Cleopatra and Caesar defeated the forces of her brother and rival, Ptolemy XIII, allowing her to reclaim the throne with authority. From this alliance, a son was born, Ptolemy XV, known as Caesarion. He symbolized the union between Egypt and Rome, representing, in Cleopatra's eyes, a promising future for Egypt. She hoped that Caesarion would one day inherit both her Egyptian throne and a leadership role in Rome, uniting the two greatest powers of the time under a single heir. Cleopatra and Caesar's relationship was met with apprehension by the Roman elite, who viewed the Egyptian queen as a dangerous and foreign influence. When Cleopatra traveled to Rome with Caesar, many Romans observed her with suspicion, considering her presence a threat to Roman culture and power. However, Cleopatra was charismatic and influential, and even in distant Rome, she knew how to use her presence to stand out. For Cleopatra, this alliance was far more than a romance. It was a strategy to secure her kingdom's safety and her dynasty's future. Her ability to blend personal and political interests was exceptional, and through Caesar and Caesarion, she aimed to establish lasting influence over Rome and a solid protection for Egypt. After Julius Caesar's assassination, Cleopatra returned to Egypt, but the political turmoil in Rome soon impacted her reign once more. With Caesar's death, a power struggle erupted among his former allies and relatives, leading to the rise of Mark Antony, one of Rome's most respected and powerful generals. For Cleopatra, Antony represented a strategic ally, someone who could help her keep Egypt free from Roman domination and ensure that her son, Caesarion, remained a legitimate heir. Cleopatra and Mark Antony formed a relationship that was both political and romantic. They became inseparable, with Cleopatra supporting Antony's military campaigns by supplying Egyptian resources in exchange for his protection and political backing. Together, they had 3 children, the twins Alexander Helios and Cleopatra Selene, and Ptolemy Philadelphus. This alliance presented Cleopatra with the possibility of strengthening her dynasty and maintaining control over Egypt. However, Cleopatra and Antony's union fueled tensions with Octavian, Caesar's nephew and heir, who saw the couple as a threat to Rome's authority. This rivalry ultimately led to the famous Battle of Actium in 31 BCE, one of the most iconic naval battles of antiquity. Cleopatra and Antony led their fleet against Octavian's forces, but tragically, their forces were defeated. The loss at Actium marked the beginning of the end for Antony and Cleopatra. Realizing that their power was lost and fearing capture, both chose to end their lives rather than be paraded through Rome as prisoners. Cleopatra's final act, supposedly involving the bite of an ASP, became a symbol of her determination to control her own fate. Her death brought an end to the Ptolemaic dynasty and marked the beginning of Roman rule over Egypt. Cleopatra was not only a political leader but also a significant supporter of culture and science in Egypt. Alexandria, her kingdom's capital, was already renowned as one of the ancient world's greatest centers of knowledge, home to the famous Library of Alexandria, which housed extensive manuscripts on philosophy, mathematics, medicine, and astronomy. Under Cleopatra's rule, the city continued to flourish culturally, and she became a patron of the arts and sciences, supporting scholars and intellectuals. Cleopatra held a profound appreciation for knowledge and encouraged cultural and scientific exchange between different regions. She welcomed thinkers from various parts of the world, fostering an environment of learning and progress. The queen understood that the power of knowledge was essential to her kingdom's prosperity, using this vision to strengthen Alexandria as a beacon of wisdom and innovation. Additionally, Cleopatra herself was highly educated, with expertise across multiple fields of knowledge. Her education spanned philosophy, medicine, literature, and other disciplines, allowing her to engage in deep and informed dialogues with prominent thinkers and leaders of her time. This broad understanding of the world was crucial to her political skills and the way she governed her realm. Cleopatra's role as a cultural patron helped solidify Alexandria's intellectual standing for centuries. Her commitment to science and culture reinforced her image as an enlightened ruler and spread Egypt's legacy as a cradle of civilization. This dedication to culture and knowledge remains an inspiring aspect of her reign, symbolizing her status as one of the most visionary and progressive leaders of her era. Beyond her strategic alliances with powerful figures like Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, Cleopatra stood out for her skill in navigating the complex and uncertain political landscape of her time. Egypt, during Cleopatra's reign, was a wealthy and strategically vital kingdom, drawing the interest of foreign powers, especially Rome. To protect her realm and ensure its autonomy, Cleopatra implemented a series of economic reforms that strengthened Egypt's position as a center of commerce and production. Understanding that Egypt's independence relied on a stable economy and a prosperous society, Cleopatra oversaw monetary reforms, adjusting currency to benefit Egypt's transactions and promoting the circulation of wealth within the kingdom. She also encouraged agriculture and trade, expanding commercial routes to the east and establishing trade partnerships with neighboring regions. These initiatives made Egypt more prosperous and ensured the resources needed to finance her projects and campaigns. Cleopatra's political acumen also manifested in her interactions with other nations. She maintained careful diplomatic relations with different leaders and rulers, using these connections to strengthen Egypt's position during times of instability. By adopting this diplomatic and economic approach, Cleopatra managed to fortify her government, avoid unnecessary conflicts, and maintain Egypt's status as a respected and prosperous nation. These strategies highlight Cleopatra's vision as a ruler who relied on more than romantic alliances. She was also an economic and political strategist committed to securing Egypt's future. Her reforms not only stabilized her reign but also solidified her legacy as one of antiquity's most astute and innovative leaders, whose vision and leadership resonate across time. Cleopatra's story offers much more than political intrigue and romances with powerful figures. She embodies the strength of intelligence, the importance of strategy, and the power of adaptability in the face of adversity. In a male-dominated era, Cleopatra used every skill she had, from diplomacy to scientific knowledge, to ensure the survival of Egypt and her dynasty. Her journey teaches us that true power goes beyond titles. It lies in determination, courage, and the ability to turn challenges into opportunities. Cleopatra serves as a model of female leadership, showing that women have always played crucial and decisive roles throughout history. Her life reminds us that each of us has the capacity to influence and shape our destiny if we have the courage to push boundaries and pursue our goals with unwavering determination. If you enjoyed learning about the incredible story of Cleopatra and want to see more content on inspiring historical figures, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share your suggestions for other stories you'd like to see. Together, let's explore the fascinating world of history and uncover the lessons it has to offer.